Welcome to Wild West Garage. That's a 1950 Chevy cab. That's a freshly welded on cab corner. I've got a little bit more work to do on it, but I'm going to show you how you can weld that on and make the welds look almost invisible. And if you want to see how I made this part, check out my last video. It's called Metal Shaping 1950 Chevy Cab Corner. Okay, just a quick look at the inner structure here. Just found this. There's a hole there. There's a hole right there. If you can see that at all. There you go, you can see it now. So you can see the floor back there. And then of course this stuff back in this corner, I already talked about it in my last video. It's all routed out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this back to about here and undo the spot welds here, rebuild all this. I think that's all one piece yet, so that, and rebuild it all out to here. I'm not going to weld it onto here. Just leave that detached, just because you don't want it to start ripping out a bunch of stuff and then you're going to lose your way. You're going to have no reference points. So I'm going to leave this sill plate here as a reference so I can get this located in the right spot, and then I'll make the piece for this and I'll cut it back to about here and I'll just replace this whole section. Actually, I don't know, I'll see how it goes. I might just put a little patch in up here. That might work, because the rest of the metal around it is pretty sound. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, that was a lot of non-video video, but here I have the inner structure all welded in, lining up nicely with the original piece here. Guess I can't really say much more. Start describing this, I might have to redo this, just blow some paint on it and describe it. But I've got to get this cut off too, so I should cut this off first before I get this line set up here. So get all this junk off of here, and yeah, I'll be back. So I guess the factory, they can't get down in here to spot weld this, so it's brazed. I think you can see where the braze is there. And they put a little split in this. You can see it. Focus. See that little line right there? They split it so they could push this in and make it fit. So a little bit of a quality control issue. You can see how this comes down. It's 90 degrees here, and then it kind of gets squashed. This is all moved over. It's running off the edge of this step in the door opening here. So I don't really know what I want to do about that. I think I'm just gonna match it to this. That's all I can do. So I should really have the door here, but they can make it fit. Maybe I just won't. I'm just not gonna weld this on here until I get the door. I'll weld it along here, but I won't weld it down here. Good plan. Alright, so I got that all in there. Ready for the outer skin to go on. Just did a little work on this too. Got to grind this down. And this is all, it's all kind of not perforated along here, but there's some pretty good pits, so I just filled them in with some weld. So I think that's about all I can do here. I don't want to replace this. It's really solid, this piece. So I don't want to, it's a big job. It runs in under here and it folds up. I mean, I could make the piece, but it's not really necessary. It's pretty solid. So I'll just fix it up a bit better. There's a couple spots need to touch up here, and it's not concourse by any means, but it's going to be a driver. So anyways, yeah, this is ready for skin. I have to do a little trimming. Just to fit. So see that has a bit of a gap there, which is okay. I got material. I can push that down into there. It'll look as good as the factory setup did anyways. You can see that door line comes down nice. That's straight. It's going to work out. Pretty confident the door's going to fit it. So anyways, I think I'm going to end it for myself tonight by clamping this on here just so I can look at it. So I'm just getting ready for the final fit up of the new piece there. I got a nice scribe line here, going for this top line, and then I'll be able to form this step here because it'll be in as far as it's going to go. So I'll show you how I do that. Well, I thought I was filming all of that while I was trimming, but when I went to look at my phone, it was off, so none of it is there. So anyways, that's all trimmed, that's all fit now. You can see how there's nothing holding it except here and here, and you can see how well that fits. It's just laying there. It's not trying to go in or out. It's in or out a little bit, like thousandths of an inch, maybe a 16th of an inch here because I don't have the step in it yet. But it's just laying there. It's it's the right shape. So now I got to form this the step. So I can't do that with, I can't mark it while I'm holding the camera, so I'll bring you back when I'm actually doing that. Okay. See the setup I got, the dies. So I'm just going to do a test run out here where I'm going to end up cutting this off. It's too long. Just to see how it goes. Okay. Not enough tension on the rollers. Obviously, because I didn't tighten it down. I'm just going to do a test run here, further out where I'm going to be trimming it. It's not biting. So I'm just going to do a test run here. Got some extra material, so I'm just out past where I'm going to cut it off. Back it out. It looks like what I want. So I'll just go ahead and do the bead. It'll feed in there. Come on. I'm gonna have to back it off. .18 gauge, it's a little hard to get started. I'll tighten it down. Oh, popped out. You can get that little bit on the end when I come out. So I'll have to back up. That should do it. Get close so you can see what's going on. I'm gonna have to ramp it up a bit. Oh. What's going on? I gotta tighten up my rollers here. They're spinning on the shafts. I don't have this one bolted down. There we go. Still spinning. Bit of a gong show. That's as far as I want to take that. I'll back it up. There we go. Got our step. So I went back to the bead roller and I formed this second step here as a starting point for the return. So this panel, you can see on the other side, it returns here, comes along and returns, goes straight into the truck. That side seems wider than this side. I don't know if you can see, yeah, you can see that. So it's got a bit of a return. So looks like I'm going to be able to trim some more of this off. But anyways, it'll make it, with that wider flange, it makes it a lot easier to form it. So I'll just go ahead and form that now, and you can watch me do that on the high speed. So there we go, the final fit up. A little bit wider gap here, but we can work with that. It's probably gonna, well, it can't really shrink because it's so tight here, but I can fill that up with weld. That's actually a pretty good gap. This is really tight, but good thing about this is I can get to the back side of it, so I can do a little hammer and dolly work. I just hope it looks this good when all the welding's done. I think it will. I'm going for an invisible weld on this one. See what happens. So I just want to go over what I'm doing here. I'm at high speeds, you know, my back's to the camera a lot there, sorry. So this first tack, so I had to release the clamp I had on here so I could move this over. It wasn't quite lined up. So this panel here was in like too far back. So I had to get that tack on there first so I could line this up nice, and then I'm going along here and tacking, obviously, but what happens is when you weld, this metal is red hot and then it cools off, so it shrinks, so it's tightening up this seam. It's trying to tighten this joint up all the time, so it wants to start to overlap. So I've got to go in there with the hammer and dolly and hit these welds to expand them a bit so this gap opens up again. So I'm just going to keep doing that until I get all the way down to the other side, and I'll move the camera. There's not, maybe I can move it over here. My camera setup, pretty high tech, eh? Anyways, I'll just move over here, and maybe you'll be able to see. My back won't be to you so much until I get over here, of course. Okay, now that I've got it all tacked, I'm gonna go ahead and grind these down. I think think it's going to be good. It feels good in between. There's no major offsets. If anything, I'd rather the this 18 gauge was offset to the outside rather than the thinner metal, because I got a little leeway in this. I can grind this a little bit, but ultimately I want it to be flush. So I can feel that's high there, that's high there, that's good. That's a little high there, that's good. That's a little high there, that's high here, a little high there. I'm not doing too good on that topic. It's flush. Anyways, it'll all flush out once I grind those welds off and get in there and dolly it a bit. So I've got my welds all ground down. It's looking really good. Nice and flush. Did a little tapping on here with the hammer. And so now I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to go for the welding. So this is looking pretty good. I'm still not finished with it. And the reason I say that is there's a few imperfections and some of those imperfections are fairly serious in that there are pinholes in my weld seam. So I'm coming real close here. If this thing, you see right in the middle of the screen there's a black dot. I don't think that's a pinhole, but right here, see that right there? That is a pinhole. And there's another one right here, I think. So I'm going to turn the lights off and I'm going to shine a light through the back side of this, or the front side I guess, and I'm going to put the camera inside the cab and I'll show you exactly what I mean. You see that little dot floating around in the blackness? That is a pinhole. I guess another way you could do this, and I haven't tried it, but you could probably take compressed air and hold your hand at the back of the seam and just blow on along the weld seam, and you'd feel air coming through. See that? Anyways, that's what I do. I just shine a light if I can, and you can easily see where your pinholes are. So really, if it looks like a pinhole, it is a pinhole, or it quite likely is a pinhole. So anyways, I gotta fix those, and I'm gonna clean this thing up a bit more and show you what it looks like. So there we go. I just went along and I zapped anything that looked remotely suspicious. Any little pinholes or any little cold like weld edges or whatever. And now I'll get this ground off and it'll look a lot better. I'll feel a lot better about it being completely welded, and I think it's going to look really awesome. One thing I do even though I'm being very careful with this, before I put any primer or anything on this, I'd give it a little just a little wipe with some fiberglass filler, That way, if there are any little pinholes, that filler is going to go into there and seal them up. Because the last thing you want is you get this all finished and you get a paint blister because moisture's got into the back of your paint. I just want to show you a little technique that I use to find highs and lows on a curved surface like this. I mean, you can run your hand on here and you can feel the lumps and the bumps and the dips. But this here is just a stainless steel ruler. It's got to be a nice one that doesn't have any kinks or anything in it. It's got to be nice and straight. And if you lay it on here like this and pull it really tight on the ends, you can visually see. So right there, there's a little low spot there because I can push the ruler down onto it. And right here, there's another, like further down, there's another spot. So, yeah, so I can really see right there, there's a low. So there's a low spot right here, and I can actually feel that. It's just kind of nice to get a visual too. So if I go in here and put this dolly, hands right here. If I put this dolly, find that again, down here in that low spot. So there's the low spot, right? There's a high spot right there, and this is all kind of low right here. So what I'll do, and that's down below the weld seam. Up here it's nice. Just a little kind of a flat spot right there. So if I put that in there, and I know where the low spot is, so I want to find the dolly, right? So I'll tap. See, that's away. That's on the dolly. That's away from the dolly. So that's good. I got it in the right spot. So now I'm going to hit it on the high spot. Make light taps. You don't want to start mangling things. So what it's doing, it's going to push that down, and because this is backed up, the low spot's backed up here, it's going to move out. See if you made any progress there. Yeah, that did it. That did everything I needed it to do right there. And there's another little low spot right there. Or was that what I was working on? I can't remember now. Yeah, there's a little low there. I'm going to just keep working on that. I think that's the same spot. Called off dolly. If I was hitting right on the dolly, it'd be on dolly. This is off dolly. You hear that? You hear that sharp? That was hitting the dolly directly. The dolly's right in there. Kind of want to move it over a bit more. That's feeling pretty good now. Yeah. Let's put the finger on it. Stretch it across there. Yeah, that's looking good. Still off a bit, but you know, polyester primer will take care of that. So there we go. We're done. Looking good. You You know, it's not a totally invisible seam. I can see it. You can probably see it. But yeah, back here, yeah, you can still see it from back here, to be honest. But I know where it is. It's right here. And so, you know, I think the MIG wire is a little harder. Ends up being a little harder material. It reacts differently to sanding and grinding than the original sheet metal does in the patch. Not making excuses. That's just the way. That's just the reality of it. So I could mess around with this some more and make it completely disappear, but that's what the paint's for, as far as I'm concerned. So I just tried to do this so I wouldn't have to put a whole bunch of Bondo on it to make it look nice. And that's, you know, that's really at the stage I got it to now. It's just going to take some high build primer to make this look really good. So I'll just show you some of the tools I used. So this is just a flapper wheel that I used to take down the weld seam. And then once I had it to where I could kind of work with it, so do some picking and filing, I got this, it's a body file. You know, just a standard body file. Then once I got that, past that stage of the picking and filing stuff, I used it's just a Bondo board. I think that's a 80 grit, and that, you know, that helps you see the highs and lows too, and then you can kind of fine tune it. And then once I got it to where I wanted, you know, where I was really trying to kind of take the waves out, I used this ruler. So talked about that. And then I just palmed it with this. This is a piece of, you know, kind of going back and forth with the grits here, but that's just a worn out old piece of 40 grit, and I just palmed it with, you know, just like that, just to make it look nice after. And I think it looks nice. So I think that turned out pretty good. I hope you enjoyed watching me do this. I've got more coming up on the A-pillar. I'm gonna start making the parts for that now. That'll be in my next video. So thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you on the next one.